This next question was sent in to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Henry Lansky. I don't watch AEW. Cody Rhodes is a pencil neck. But after Jim talking about how stupid it is for letting all these guys hire their friends, I had a question. While I personally don't give a flying fuck about the future of AEW, is there maybe a benefit to hiring your friends and people you know you have chemistry with, as opposed to taking a gamble on someone you don't know?
Well, yes. I mean, not only all of wrestling, but really everything, sports and any type of entertainment is all about hiring your friends. Bands find people that they know that they want to play guitar for them. But the thing is knowing when your friends are talented and when they're not, and when they deserve the spot they're in and when they're not. And just because you know a bunch of fucking guys that do these ridiculous, stupid things that get people just all tickled, their taints are just tickled, in 500-seat fucking buildings in fucking indie wrestling shows doesn't mean that they're ready for prime time. And there comes a time when you have to know, okay, I may not. I've heard that there's problems between who is it done? Is it Jericho doesn't like Cody? Cody doesn't like Jericho. Omega doesn't like somebody. What is it?
Are you
in
serious?
That equation? I've heard that somebody's not fond of somebody at the top over there, but I don't want to say who it is.
Oh,
because I don't remember and I don't care that much. But the point is, you have to work in the wrestling business with stars, with people with talent. Now people say, well, you wouldn't work with Russo. Notice my qualifier.
Stars and talent.
Stars and talent. And maybe and CM Punk, because he seemed to be fairly cranky with some of those folks because they didn't contact him in the proper method. If I was a billionaire, I would be slobbering all over myself to go apologize to CM Punk and give him $5 million to get on that program. Because, okay, let's say I've heard unverified amounts on some of these contracts that some guys are being offered, right?
Well, hold on. If I could stop you right there, because this ties into another question, so I'll throw it in here. It'll tie into this. From Peter D on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru. Hi, Jim. You mentioned that AEW is paying talent big sums. What sort of money are we talking?
Well, and if I did know, I'm not going to do everybody's income tax returns in public. I have that much professionalism, just barely. But when you're talking about giving the guy that sticks his hands in his pockets, my little dog pockets, or some of these other fucking goof acts. I even hate that term acts, but I'll use it for them because that's what they are. They're acting. I hate the term act in wrestling. But any of these goofs, 6 figures. Already, you're giving them multiple times.
Wait, hold on. He gave Pocket 6 figures?
Oh, well, any All Elite Wrestling contract that I've heard of is in 6 figures.
Well, you're talking about 6 figures for more than 1 year, not 6 figures for a single year.
No, 6 figures per year.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm explaining to you, son.
Oh, my God.
And the first year is going to be 1 day a week, basically, right? And a few pay-per-views. So, but anyway, if you can give anybody on that roster, with the exception of Chris Jericho, John Moxley, because he's just had the exposure on WWE television, even though it wasn't very beneficial. And I'm trying to think of somebody else who's maybe Cody. Giving anybody else 6 figures before you've tried to offer CM Punk $5 million to come back is insanity. Just to me.
Is there anyone else out there that you look at? And I would guess a lot of them would have to be older guys just based on who would have that level of notoriety and be that big of a star. But are there other guys you look at that you say they should be offering this guy X amount of dollars and just get him in there?
Well, no,
that are available, that are free, that are not currently signed to the World Wrestling Federation, to the WWE.
Well, see, therein lies the problem, is that you have guys that you don't have that many people that are just an automatic draw and attention getter based on their name. That's why they got Chris Jericho. Right? because he's one of the very few that are available that can make a difference based on this guy's name is on the card, right? CM Punk's another one. After that, it gets pretty thin unless you're talking about, the over the hill gang of people that are not tied up, and even a lot of them are. So you have to, that's why I say, since there's not a very many of them, a guy like Punk, what the fuck? At some point, he's going to say, this is too much money for me to turn down, and I would get to be one of the stars of the show, if not the star of the show. And that would be a wiser investment, Fred. Then you find guys in different places that you think you can make stars out of. And you have to have the eye for that too. As I've said, if you've got a couple $100,000 to fucking blow, and instead of coming up with the worst tag team gimmick in the history of tag team gimmicks that doesn't even get over on a show where the people are almost acting like they're paid to like it, spend a couple $100,000 to get Jay Lethal or the Briscoes out of Ring of Honor. I would say more names from Ring of Honor of a few years ago, but they're all in NXT or the WWE now, so you can't touch them. But it's
considering that it seems that AEW has had no problem getting guys that we hear are under contract to MLW. Are there any other guys from there that they should go after?
I don't know if I'm getting in the middle of my old alma mater MLW. I don't want to fucking sabotage them by giving them some, but obviously they've already been using MJF, Hammerstone, but I think Hammerstone may be exclusive to MLW. But anybody that's a wrestling promoter and doesn't look at Hammerstone and say, okay, I could fucking use him, you're insane. Holiday. The point is, and I think the reason why that a couple of people from MLW are being used by All Elite is because they had pre-existing contracts with MLW. They weren't exclusive, but they must indeed work for MLW, so they're doing both. But I just don't understand why that anybody can step back and look at the unknown talent that they're signing. You always want to sign the new next big thing and nobody knows who they are. I just don't understand why anybody would think that any of these fucking clowns are the next big thing. It's fucking nuts.
Well,
they need some talent, and they need some experience in the ring besides for guys like SCU.
They need some leadership at the top.
Yes, and leadership in the ring. And you can't make anybody a star when they beat another guy that the people don't see as a star because they've never heard of them either. Anybody that beats Chris Jericho on their TV to the average fan will be a star. But if you beat Kenny Omega, it ain't gonna make any difference because nobody knows who the fuck Kenny Omega is besides the same fucking people that are already going to watch this thing anyway. You can't make stars by having them beat unknown people. Now, over and over in squash matches, week after week after week, that's how you get somebody over, by having them beat people like that. Nobody needs to know who they are. But once again, sooner or later, they've got to get to some main events and they've got to win some championships and win some big matches against people that the average mainstream person in the audience considers is a star. And if they've only seen the opponent the same amount of times they've seen the guy you're trying to get over, or fewer times, and they don't have a big reputation, they don't know who they are either, just because it's a great match doesn't get a guy immediately over as a star to a mainstream audience. They have to beat somebody important.